So it seems that every week we get another Anthem controversy. No matter what they do, Bioware simply cannot seem to catch a break. They come in, they fix a whole bunch of stuff, and somehow that causes other issues to arise later down the line, to the point everything derails into a complete mess from there on. Just yesterday we had people reporting their consoles getting shut down unexpectedly, and there's even some news articles claiming Sony will process refunds, no questions asked. This was also later picked up by various YouTube channels who blew it out way out of proportions to the point of spreading complete falsehoods about the game breaking your consoles and so on and so forth. Let me be clear with you on this one, your console is fine. I'm going to show you how to fix it, and I'm going to clear up some of the misconceptions that have been thrown around lately. Also, let me be clear that in no way, shape or form do I condone this type of problem from a product I pay for, but it is one thing to raise awareness to a certain issue and a total different one to cause a drama, spread false information, and end up simply making players even more confused. So I'm going to try right now as much as possible to go over what's happening in an objective manner and help out those who still have issues with their consoles. Now let's start with the alleged breaking of the PS4s, which also seems to be affecting the Xbox players, and this has been thrown around a little bit too loosely, especially around Reddit as well as here on YouTube. So far there has yet to be a single case of an actual documented breaking of the PS4 as a result of playing Anthem, with the PS4 of course being the console that seems to be the most affected by this strange issue, whatever it is. What is actually happening is that the game in rare cases somehow forces a shutdown of the console, which is somewhat equivalent to pulling out the power cable. Now, pulling out the power cable isn't something that should be attempted, as there's even warnings in place that it might cause data corruption. Luckily in this case your data is still on your hard drive, it's just temporary and inaccessible, and there's an easy fix for it. Thanks to a Reddit user who made a quick guide I'll post below, you can go ahead and check it out if you want to read more on it. The solution in the case you are affected by this issue is to simply boot your console into safe mode by simply holding down the power button on the console until you hear 2 beeps. Once inside the safe mode you will have a couple of options in there, and you should pick the one called rebuild database, and this should fix all of your issues in like 99% of the cases. Do not pick initialize, by the way, as that will reset your PS4 to default, which means that all of your data on your hard drives are going to be wiped, so be careful, only pick rebuild database. It also looks like many of these crashes have been caused when attempting to close Anthem, and one Reddit user came in with a good workaround to prevent that hard crash from happening, and according to that post, minimizing Anthem to the dashboard and then closing it from the quick menu on the side should solve this issue and should make it not crash your console anymore. Now if you still want to play Anthem and push through all of these problems, then there's a third solution for you, especially if you see these problems recurring even after trying both of the solutions I've just told you. According to a different Reddit user, if rebuilding the database does not help, you then might want to try deleting and reinstalling Anthem altogether. Initializing the console should be a last resort only, and as I've said, initializing the console will wipe out your entire data, so if you want to do that, then you should probably have all of your save files and everything else like screenshots and whatever backed up to a different hard drive before doing this or attempting something like this, because it's going to delete everything on it. Nonetheless, it looks like the issue itself might not fully rest on Bioware's fault, as there's reports of other games starting to cause the same types of issues quite recently. After doing some digging, it seems that Apex Legends has a similar problem, though I think that was already addressed, but there's other games in there as well, including God of War and even Marvel Spider-Man, and there's other games in there causing hard crashes as well for some reason. There's reports on this since last year, but they have been ramping up ever since a recent update made by Sony, so it might be very well that this is the issue that causes it, or there might be a combination of multiple issues. It might be that these games have become simply too graphically intensive for the hardware that the consoles have. Maybe the consoles simply cannot keep up with these, they overheat and pretty much force themselves into a shutdown to prevent further problems for the hardware. From all accounts, this doesn't look to be a power failure, which can indeed wipe out your data, but more of a overheating problem combined with possible memory leaks and even intensive graphics, which again causes the overheating problem, which makes the console to shut down itself. Of course, there's no official statement yet coming from Sony so far, so what we can base ourselves on is from Bioware's own statements, and Bioware did come up with multiple statements saying that they are looking into these very issues. Andrew Johnson from Bioware came in yesterday on Twitter saying that they are are aware of this issue and the team is actively looking into it. There's also a lengthy thread on the official Anthem forums about the issue since yesterday when the news started picking up, and I also urge you to go ahead and post your problems over there in case you have any of them, so that you can raise awareness more to this issue or whatever other issue you might have with the consoles. I know it's popular right now to bash Bioware for avoiding the issue, but from all accounts it seems to be quite the opposite. Bioware did respond to it quite fast, they have acknowledged it as early as yesterday when it came into public attention, and they seem to have already been working upon it. There's also a post from Jesse Anderson talking a little bit about the silence from the past few days. According to his Twitter post, I know I've been quiet today across channels, but it's not because I'm trying to ignore anyone, it's because I'm working on the patch notes for the next update and planning on an Anthem livestream for Wednesday, March 6th. It is not yet clear if these patch notes are also going to be coming on the 6th, or is it just the dev livestream. The next big update, of course, is announced to go live on the 12th of March, so I doubt there's not going to be any single hotfix in the meantime, especially if these issues that we've talked about are so widespread as they are. Nonetheless, if more stuff gets posted, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated, but in the meantime, that is all the information that we have. And let's move on now to the second issue on the list, which is of course the alleged Sony processing refunds with no questions asked, which is completely ridiculous. Leaving aside the fact that there's no official statement coming from Sony on the matter, and even more so knowing that this is one of the companies with the most strict refund policies, it's obvious that this is not going to happen. It seems that a lot of misinformation is being spread over on Reddit, many times clearly intentional, and the end result is of course doing nothing more than hurting the consumers who are looking for solutions to their problems and trying to find a reliable source to help them. You can totally go ahead and try asking for a refund from Sony, but the overwhelming reports you can research on the internet on your own if you don't believe me will tell you that that is not going to happen. Sony never does a no question asked refund, especially on digital products that have already been downloaded and played. In rare cases they might do that, but never before doing an official statement, like how it was for example in the case of No Man's Sky. There is somebody over on Reddit claiming to be working at Sony's customer support and went in a little bit about how it all goes down, though I'm not going to take it at face value and keep some reservations about the truthfulness of his post. With that being said, he did post his experience in the past 24 hours and it kinda comes in line with what I read in most other reports. It seems that there's an increased number of people asking for refunds, people claiming their consoles got bricked, while in reality it was most probably just a shutdown of the console, and again, easily fixable with a database rebuild or fixable with a patch. According to the post, most people want refunds, which we aren't giving out. A few people got them this morning, but then the order came down not to issue them as the issue can be patched. Those who did get them never had one before, and the one I dealt with was because they had spent quite a bit on the PSN store over the years and it was quote-unquote worth it to keep these persons a repeat customer. And that kinda goes in line with the overall experience I had with Sony's customer support. When I asked for a refund in the past, they only did so because it was my first time requesting it, and ever since then they have never accepted any other refunds on my part. The only way they will do that is if you don't already pre-order the game, if you don't download it digitally, or if you don't get to play it. So some pretty strict rules, and yeah, you can still try it if you want to, but don't expect any miracles. Now, on a side note, before wrapping this video up, I will suggest to stay away from Anthem for a little bit, especially if you already had experienced anything major like having for example your entire console crash. I personally never had a single problem with this, no crashes, no bugs, no connection issues, and what I'm seeing from my subscribers, the overwhelming majority of them also don't have any of these issues and they have never or almost never experienced any big problems. Does it mean that everything is perfectly fine? Well, no, and there are people who do have problems. That is why I'm trying to put out these videos, wait out a little bit until everything is cleared up, until all the drama flushes from people's systems, so we can go over the entire thing in an objective manner and bring solutions to the problems, rather than just screaming from the top of our lungs about some problems everybody already knows about. So yeah, hopefully this video helped you guys. Go ahead and tell me what's your experience right now with the game. Are you having any problems? If so, go ahead and post them and maybe we can find the solutions together. In the meantime, a thumbs up would be super appreciated. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of Anthem, and I will see you guys next time.